A two-time NASCAR champion just compared Carson Hocevar to an 8-year-old on live podcast, and he wasn't joking around. Kyle Larson didn't hold back, and what he said next could change how the entire garage looks at the young Spire Motorsports driver. Kyle Larson doesn't hand out compliments often, and when he does, people listen. So when the two-time Cup Series champion sat down and started talking about Carson Hocevar, fans leaned in close. What he said was part praise, part wake-up call, and it might just be the most honest take anyone has shared about the young Spire Motorsports driver all year. Let's start with where Larson is coming from. He's not some random voice on social media. He's a two-time Cup Series champion. He's one of the best pure racers NASCAR has right now. When Kyle Larson talks about talent, people across the garage stop and listen. So when he showed up on the Bussin With The Boys podcast and the conversation turned to Carson Hocevar, every word carried real weight. And the very first thing Larson said about the 23-year-old, it wasn't a knock, it was full of respect. Here's what he told the hosts. He said, "Hocevar, honestly, I respect his talent. I think he's extremely good and fast. I like his aggressiveness even, but I would say it goes overboard a lot of the time." Now think about that for a second. Larson didn't just say Hocevar is good, he said extremely good. He used the word twice. That's not a guy trying to be polite. That's a champion telling you the kid in that number 77 car has the kind of speed you can't fake. And on top of that, Larson said he even likes the aggressive style. He just thinks it goes too far sometimes. But Larson didn't stop there. Later in that same interview, he doubled down on his praise. And honestly, this is where things got really interesting. He said, "He's phenomenal. He outruns his teammates by a lot every week. He's really good, he's going to be around for a long time, and he's going to win a lot of races. I think once he definitely harnesses himself some and kinda dials back that aggression a little bit and manages a race better, I think he can win multiple races a year, and he's close to that. He's definitely gotten better over the last couple of years." Let that sink in. A two-time champion just said Carson Hocevar is phenomenal. He said Hocevar beats his own teammates by a lot, every single week. He said the wins are coming. He said Hocevar could be winning multiple races a year, and he's almost there already. And he pointed out that Hocevar has gotten better over the last couple of seasons. That is a massive endorsement. That's not a small compliment. That's Kyle Larson basically telling the NASCAR world that this young driver has the goods to be a regular winner and a future star. But here's the thing. This is where the warning part comes in. Because Larson didn't just hand Hocevar a trophy and walk away. He pointed out one big problem. And it has nothing to do with what happens inside the car. Larson said the issue is what Hocevar does away from the track, specifically his online behavior, his Twitch streams, his social media presence. Here's exactly what Larson said, and honestly, this is the part that's going to sting a little. He said, "For me, he's young, but he's more immature than what his age is. I have his little Twitch stream thing pop up on my Instagram feed every now and then, and I'm like, dude, this guy is like an 8-year-old. That's where I lose a little bit of respect because I'm like, this guy could be the future of our sport, and he's acting like he's 8 years old. 8 years old. That's the comparison a two-time Cup champion just made. And remember, Larson isn't a guy who throws shots for fun. He's calm, he's measured. He doesn't usually call people out in public. So when he says he loses a little respect because of how Hocevar acts online, that's a real warning shot. And it's a fair one too, because think about it from Larson's view. Here's a driver who could be one of the biggest names in the sport. Here's a young guy with the talent to become the next big thing. And every time Larson opens his phone, he sees clips of Hocevar acting like a kid on Twitch. That's frustrating. Not because Larson hates him, but because Larson sees what Hocevar could be, and he doesn't want him to waste it. Now, let's zoom out for a second. This isn't happening in a quiet moment. Carson Hocevar is right in the middle of one of the most talked about seasons of any young driver. His aggressive driving has made headlines all year long. Other drivers have called him out. He's been at the center of more than a few on-track incidents. Some competitors respect him for racing hard. Others think he's gone too far too often. But here's where Larson's voice is different. Most of those critiques come from drivers who are upset after getting wrecked. They're emotional, they're frustrated, they want to vent. Larson isn't doing that. He's not whining. He's not complaining about being hit. He's giving a calm, balanced take. He's saying, yes, The aggression is too much sometimes. But he's also saying the talent is undeniable. He sees a sky-high ceiling. He sees a future superstar. That makes his message a lot more powerful than just another driver complaining about getting roughed up. And this is where the real magic of what Larson said comes through. He's not telling Hocevar to change who he is. He's not asking him to stop being aggressive. He's not telling him to stop streaming on Twitch. The message is simpler than that. It's about learning when to channel that aggression. It's about growing up just a little bit off the track. It's about matching the talent with the maturity. Larson said the speed is already there. The wins, in his eyes, are coming whether Hocevar changes or not. The only real question is whether Hocevar can take that final step. Can he learn when to push and when to back off in the car? Can he handle himself like a future superstar away from the car? Because right now, Larson sees a kid who is one growth spurt away from being a household name in NASCAR. And honestly, that's a wild place for Hocevar to be in. Most drivers would kill to have Kyle Larson go on a podcast and call them phenomenal. Most drivers would kill to have a two-time champion say they're close to winning multiple races a year. That kind of public endorsement from a guy like Larson can change a career. But it also comes with a heavy weight, because now everyone knows. Everyone has heard it. The talent isn't the issue. The car isn't the issue. The team isn't the issue. The only thing standing between Carson Hocevar and superstardom, according to one of the best in the sport, is Carson Hocevar himself. That's not an easy thing to hear, but it might be exactly what he needs to hear. Because if Hocevar listens, if he takes Larson's words to heart, if he learns when to dial it back in the car and when to act his age off the track, the wins will pile up. The respect will grow. The superstar status Larson sees in him will become real. If he doesn't listen, though, he risks something worse than just bad finishes. He risks being remembered as the fast kid who never figured it out. The driver who had it all and let it slip away because he couldn't grow up. Kyle Larson made it crystal clear. The door is wide open. The talent is screaming through it. All Hocevar has to do is walk through. The question now is whether the 23-year-old hears the warning loud and clear, or if he keeps doing what he's been doing and proves Larson right in the worst possible way. The ball is in Carson Hocevar's court now. Kyle Larson said his piece. The rest of the garage heard it. The fans heard it. And somewhere, Hocevar heard it too. What he does next, on the track and off of it, will tell the world whether he listened or not, because warnings from two-time champions don't come around twice.